All things around the philosophy of life and expanding your own original selves can really put the face in the vase towards this great abdomen. We're really looking at the themes surrounding the new moon in Sagittarius on December 1st. That's not the only thing that's going to be going on. We also have Venus in a beautiful trine with Uranus, shaking up our relationships, and we're meeting people from different cultural backgrounds than our own. So those are a couple little tasters when it comes to the astrology of these 2 days, December 1st and 2nd. And so I'm going to get into that in this video. And then when I am done, I am going to reveal to you the oracle cards I pulled from the Work Your Right Oracle by Rebecca Campbell, which give the themes for these 2 days. We'll get to that later. But first of all, let's talk about this new moon. This new moon happens in the sign of Sagittarius. The sun is conjunct the moon, making it a very dark sky, very introverted personality type. And it is happening at 9 degrees of Sagittarius, which is actually Sagittarius degree in the degree theory. So it's so opportune that it's happening at the degree of Sagittarius. And this new moon is not making any other aspects to any other planet in exactitude, that is. So it's sort of free flying, free flipping going on its own. Look for where 9 degrees of Sagittarius falls in your natal chart and what house it corresponds to, because you're going to be setting new intentions on whatever matter that the house covers. So if it's your first house, then it's around your identity, your personality, how you put yourself out in the world, your physical enamora. If it's your second house, it's your finances, your values, your talents, your gifts. So it's all relative to whatever house it falls for you in your chart. This new moon asks you to be optimistic and to have faith in life that things will work out for the best possible measures. This is all about faith, trust in the divine, enamora, enamora. We want to have faith in our lives, that it will go as we planned it out to go, but not in the way that we think. Because Sagittarius always wants that new little spin on things. It always wants to go beyond what is ordinarily known, quote unquote. So what we want to do is we want to go into life with full thrusting throttles up in the air, horns blazing, giving it all that we've got, putting in our heart, our soul, our determination, our messages, whatever we can do to perform inescrupulously, to perform what we need to do in order to get what we want. This is also a time which talks about going after what you want, going after what you desire, whatever that may be. A new car, a blanket, an animal, a pet, a project that you want to get accomplished and off the ground. Whatever it is, this is the time to go into it full throttle, full gust, full lust, and give it all you've got. This is also a great new moon for expansion, expanding your mind, reading things, traveling places, expanding spiritually what you know to be true about the world, going beyond what you know. That's what Sagittarius is about, as I said before, which talks about in a spiritual way, but also a philosophical way, really going beyond expanding your spiritual principles, learning more about spirituality, studying spirituality, investing your time and energy into spirituality. That's what this new moon is about in whatever ways that applies for you in your life. This is general energies. You have to look at where this falls in your own birth chart to get the full picture of how this is going to make sense. This also talks about expanding new possibilities, exploring new possibilities for your life. This is what this is about, exploring new possibilities, going in new directions. This new moon offers a prime focus pointer on optimism, just sheer optimism, hope, faith. We're feeling good, we're feeling uplifted. How does it get any better than this? Sort of thing where we're feeling very elated, very abjunculated, very enthusiastic about our endeavors and what we want to succeed on in our own individual experiences. So the optimism comes into play here. We're feeling more optimistic. This is a new moon to be optimistic, to put your faith in something that you can feel optimistic about. The moon is going to oppose Jupiter. So the moon in Sagittarius is going to oppose Jupiter in Gemini, which is the opposite sign of what Jupiter rules. So the moon opposite Jupiter. So when the moon is opposite Jupiter, we may find ourselves broadcasting personal information out into the field only to feel more exposed later. So we want to be very, very discerning and critical over what information that we're exhausting out into the world, that we're not oversharing, that we're not giving away details that we want to keep private, that we're not putting our information out to people who can really do us harm with that information, now that they know that information because we were guards down, hands down, focused on the facers, and put it out there. So this is a time when we want to really, really be critical about what the truths that we say come out of our mouths, that we're not being overly open to the point of detrimental loss, that we're not being overly open to the point of damage being done in our individual experiences. This is really critical because if we just share the whole spouting out the details, then you never know what's going to be happening on the flip side of that. So we really want to be mindful of that. You may find that your guard is lowered at this time. Another pitfall with this that we want to be mindful of is overindulgence. Jupiter is the expanding principle, so we want more of whatever Jupiter touches. So we may be overindulging in food and drink and all the Sagittarian Gelangscheideds of what it covers. Um, especially if this moon falls in your second house, which is a Taurus house. So it would correspond to you in much brighter ways or much more shadowy ways, how you want to look at it. But we want to really, really be mindful that we're not overdoing it when it comes to our food and drink, that we're not overeating. This can be very, very good for future pacing, considering our future endeavors. This is wonderful energy for that. But really considering what is in our stock and future of what we want to get accomplished in the world. What is in our stock and path of what we desire in the world. And so we're planning out for the future. This is what I want to achieve. I want to build this bridge this size, and I want to build that bridge a little bit bigger than that, and that bridge a little bigger. It's the kind of thing where we're really, really considering what will our future be like. And we're prepping for that, we're planning for that right now. This is also good to put yourself out there into the world. Um, either on social media or physically, or giving a speech or putting yourself into an oral communications group, whatever can be the factor of you putting yourself out there into the world. You may find that you want to reassess your goals and aspirations to determine if those things are authentic to you. It's very, very healthy to avoid unnecessary conflicts, but choose to show up for the conflicts that have to be fought that are necessary conflicts that mean the difference between you and relationships. So ideally, stay away from conflict. But if you need to have conflict, you need to have conflict. So show up diplomatically, assertively, courageously, go through with that conflict. So we want to be discerning about who we put our trust in, because we may give our bag to somebody, but they may throw it out into the hatchers. We may give off our ore to somebody, and they may take advantage and use and abuse that. We may give out our Shaktis to somebody, and they may return it back with golden pebbles and completely transform and ruin what we have given them in the past. So we do want to be mindful of and discerning about our trust. Respect is a given, trust is an earned. That's what we need to remember, is that we need to make sure that we can trust the people in our lives when it comes to what we're giving off for them to receive and take care of for us. It's very critical now to maintain boundaries at this time because we may break the boundaries, we may just shut down the boundaries, but boundaries are critical now. They are hyper vigilantly critical and subnetical. So we also want to be mindful of not being overly impulsive now, because we may find that we want to be impulsive, that we want to be acting on instincts and impulse. We don't want to think before we act. We don't want to consider how is this going to affect my actions, how is this going to affect other people, etc. We just want to act on impulse. But being overly impulsive can put us in the pitfalls of life. So we do want to be mindful of that. Another aspect going on today is that the moon will sextile Black Moon Lilith. So when this happens, we can find that energies that influence emotional responses and subconscious desires come into play here. So, what is influencing your emotions and subconscious? Being very, very mindful to have a proper filter system or what goes through and goes blue with those processing feelings of emotions and etc. It's also very important to explore the hidden facets of one's personality, your personality or another person's personality, exploring those aspects really critically is what this is about. This is also about maintaining emotional stability as much as you can because you may feel the need to break away stability, change things up, be unstable, put the bagariums and the lagariums, really, really put yourself in an unstable, unmythicana situation. So we want to be mindful of keeping the things that work in our life that are stable. Very, very important. We may have sharp intuition now, so our intuition may be very, very poignant, very sharp, very accurate. And we want to mean things that we do in our lives with tenacity. We need to also take flashes of insight seriously. It's really, really critical that we don't dismiss those insights because they're subtle. We can easily miss them. Be available, be receptive, be open to the insights that our intuition gives us, and choose to go in those directions, whatever our intuition points us to go in, because those will ultimately be for our highest good. Even if it defies logic, even if it makes no sense at all logically, we need to follow our intuition because our intuition is alchemical gold. It really, really is. You may also find that people may flock to you for support, for healing support, for revealing support, for all kinds of different support and wisdom that they can flock to you as being. The moon is also going to try and Chiron. So when the moon is trying Chiron, the wounded healer, this makes it much easier to process our wounds and emotions. Under a difficult moon Chiron aspect, it would make it more challenging. Now it's trying a more positive aspect, so it's more simple. So we want to show self-loving compassion towards your vulnerabilities. So we want to be loving and compassionate towards those tender feelings inside of us, those vulnerable parts of ourselves. That's what we really want to be. We want to be open to those things. So that's that. So we want to choose to be feeling and choose to be vulnerable as well. We want to be vulnerable. We want to be open and vulnerable like that. Um, and so embracing our wounds and healing them is what this time ultimately asks us to take part in. Your intuition can help you get through this time as well. Your wounds and your relationship with abundance and self-worth is really important. So taking your wounds and looking at your relationship with abundance and self-worth is really quite critical. It's very, very critical to look at these things and how self-worth and abundance affects your wounds. And so we want to look at releasing limiting beliefs surrounding our possessions as well. We also want to turn challenges around, finding new solutions and opportunities to heal our wounds. It's ultimately what this work is about. It's taking advantage of opportunities to truly heal our wounds. Moving on to the next aspect. The moon is going to conjunct Mercury. So when the moon is conjunct Mercury, retrograde in Sagittarius, we may find that our emotions overwhelm and take over our logical mind, the logical parts of our mind. We may find this to be the case very easily. Um, so, our emotions can certainly overwhelm us, and we're thinking much more emotionally, much more subjectively about our reality. So communicating our feelings is really, really important. Not to keep these things bottled in, but to communicate them in either through writing or speaking or whatever way feels possible. Any Moon Mercury aspect speaks to that in some way or another. And having compassion for your emotional journey is huge. This aspect may also amplify your emotions, making them more poignant, more noticeable. Okay, so the card that I pulled from the Work Your Light Oracle by Rebecca Campbell is the card Keepers of the Earth. And the card says, You are not alone, ancient ancestors stand beside you. So this is about understanding that you are supported by spirit. You are supported by the divine. You're not going through this alone, that there is support available to you. There are forces that are divine, that are loving, that are very, very wise, that will stand up for you, stand for you. And now is the time to call on them for support through whatever means that you can when you're in a muck, when you're in an issue, when life is humdrum low down, when it's difficult to see through the press cuttings, you can certainly call on them for guidance. Um, so there are divine supporters who are here to congratulate the work that you have done, to acknowledge the work that you have done. So now it's time to acknowledge that work that you have definitely done in your lives. So acknowledging the work that you've already done is super duper important. Patting yourself in the back for that. I've already done all this, not looking to what hasn't been done yet, not looking to what you still have to do, but acknowledging what you've already done already, what you've already collected already, what you've already built already is really important. And when you want support, it's just a matter of you opening up your heart and mind to receive it. That's what it's all about. Moving on to December 2nd. The aspect going on today, the very, very first aspect, is Venus will trine Uranus. So Venus is in Capricorn, Uranus is in Taurus. So this may be a good time where you may be finding bargains, shopping online. This is great for um dance, music, art, and craft as well. So getting involved in these arenas, getting involved in any of the creative fields or the beauty fields or whatever it may be, the beauty industry, etc. Know that you may be distracted by anything new and shiny, because it looks so good on the surface, it might not be that way. In actuality, because you're looking at, what is distracting, what is stimulating, what's exciting, and all of that, what gleams in the beacon sunlight. Whatever that might be for you. Maybe you see something in a store that you really like, or maybe you watch a video of someone showing something you really want to buy, whatever it is. You're obsessed with it, your mind is in that arena, you're you're preoccupied with that definitely. You may be attracted to more people who are out of the box, or people who may come from a different cultural background as your own. So you may be more attracted to these types of people. And if you're single, this is a great time to start a relationship with somebody who is unique in their own individual ways and they fully allow themselves to show up for themselves and be their true authentic self and march the beat of their own drum. So you may be more likely to enter a relationship in your life if you are single. This may be also you're attracted to moderately dangerous situations as well. You may be drawn to new and exciting people, and there is a greater sense of compassion and empathy toward the outcasts, toward the outliers of society, toward the people who are um, put away in dungeons or perhaps cast out of society because of their ways that do not conform to society's social standards. So there's more of an empathy and understanding for how it feels to be alienated and different from everybody else. It can be felt where you can raise them up, you can make them feel special, make them feel included, and really give them their meat and wine kind of way. This is good for looking also at technology and the arts as well. So it's two areas where they just can really jux very well. Another aspect is that we have Mercury trine Chiron on this day. So this is about putting your message out there, not being shy, not being timid, but putting your message out there for other people to hear. Communication can be a source of healing. Talking about your feelings, talking about your wounds, taking what is all that is in the shadows, all that is unconscious, and bringing it up to make it conscious, even though you may be afraid of speaking to it, even though you may be ashamed or embarrassed by it. Talking about those wounds can really, really help you move through and heal them and bring awareness to them. So I really, really encourage you to talk about your wounds. Talk about your psychological wounds, your childhood wounds, ancestral wounds, whatever the wounds are. Now's the time to voice them out loud and bring them into the light of consciousness. So you can be a healing communicator right now as well. You may find that your writing and speaking draws attention to wounds that you are struggling with. So any kind of communication where you can fess up to your wounds and admit to them and be true to them and integrate them is really critical to do now. You may find that you have vulnerability and mutual respect for anyone who expresses their wounds. You may find that you have problem-solving skills become jeopardized. These problem-solving skills are very high in the 80s, and you can find that you have a lot of good problem-solving skills in this time. This may be good for making previous hardships easier. So anything that was difficult in the past, any trial, tribulation experience that was hard in the past now can be remedied and now can be easier for you. And it's also good to go talk to your friend about your wounds, to talk to your family about your wounds, to have some therapeutic experience regarding your deep wounds, which you would prefer to keep hidden, that they must be expressed in the light of consciousness. That's the only way out, is by voicing them out loud and being conscious about them. So maybe going to therapy and talking about these things is really good for you to do at this time. The last aspect we have going on is the moon will square Neptune in Pisces. So this brings about emotional sensitivity, feeling more emotionally sensitive to the needs and wants of others. We may be getting deceived by others if we're not careful, if we're not mindful, if we're not discerning, if we don't have healthy boundaries. This is good for any kind of art, music, meditation, or anything that involves mindfulness that can help you tap into your imagination is favored. Anything that helps you tap into your right brain, your imaginative side of your brain, is really beneficial to do now. Your heightened sensitivity for other people and other people's lives and other people's experiences can be a gift and a challenge at the same time. So understanding the pitfalls of it, but understanding the advantages of it is really, really critical that you have the both and there. Um, that you um, choose to see both sides of it and manage it the best way possible. You may be stuck in the fantasies of seeing things how you fantasize them to be, how you envision them to be, how you perceive them to be, rather than facing reality and owning up to what the things actually are. So that may be an issue with this transit. You also have the longing to escape somewhere, to escape somewhere really important, to go somewhere very high end, very destinado kind of thing. And so there is this longing to escape, longing to get out, longing to explore the world around you, or escape from your current life situations, no matter how dire they might be. Now's the time to escape those situations in healthy ways, in balanced ways where we're not overdoing it through videos, through books, through video games, however the escape can be, because Pisces as a sign is always on the lookout for different sources of escape. If that, this is also good to communicate your feelings honestly and to the point and openly, to be open about your feelings. It's really, really critical now. Self-care is also very, very important at this point in time. It's very, very good that we have healthy self-care and healthy self-respect right now is really, really critical. That we do the things which we are designer self, the portion self, the motion self, that we're really, really taking care of ourselves for what we're putting in our bodies through our meditation practices, whatever it is in the self-care arena. Now's the time to do that. This is a good time to get out in nature, connect with nature, build nature, or meditate, or do both, meditate and nature, better yet. For those in the Southern Hemisphere watching this, you may find it easier to do that um, than us in the Northern Hemisphere because it's autumn right now. So, so getting out of nature and meditation, whatever is mindfulness practices that you can do, it's wonderful for this time. This is also good for personal growth and self-discovery as well. Now, the card that I pulled for December 2nd is the card which is based off of I think, the Tower card in the tarot called the Crumbling. And it says, what are you clinging on to? So this talks about the release of what you're clinging on to, releasing your attachments, your firm grip on what you want in a 3D reality. I want this person to do the loop smack and do thing. I want this thing a certain way. I want the tablecloths in neat arranged order. I want this food to be served. I want this portrait to be hung up on the wall. I want that vase to be in that right place. I mean, the need to have an absolute need for control over your environment in the 3D reality is what you must release. That is the attachment that you're holding onto that you must release. So this is time to examine your attachments, surrender those attachments, and release those attachments. Evaluate what attachments you're holding on to that is not authentic to you. Because what will crumble is not is what is inauthentic. You have a more authentic experience of your life. So what is not what is in place that is blocking you from being your true authentic self. When these structures crumble, when these things just happen and you lose control over your life, it can feel like it's a personal attack from the universe. But these structures that are crumbling, these changes that are happening, these shifts, these losses are for your highest good. So knowing that is really, really important. So it's about loosening your grip on the 3D, handing your burdens over to spirit, and allowing trust in the universe that things will work out fine, that things everyone will be okay, um that it will all be just it'll all go the way that it is supposed to, even if it goes beyond what your ego thinks it's supposed to be. Maybe it goes up, maybe the plans that you make are broken, but it's for a better reason, that it's better that they're broken because it will lead to something much more fulfilling, much better, much more meaningful. So that is your piece of wisdom there for that. Thank you everybody for watching. What do you like about this video? Let me know in the comments below. What transit are you most looking forward to during these couple of days? And does this video resonate with you? I'd like to know your comments. Share this video, like this video, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye everybody.